What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Monster Truck Outlaws to the West podcast. It's a nice graphic there. And it's not Friday. It's Wednesday. What are we doing, Phil?
I don't know what we're doing. Wait, what are we doing?
You tell me. That's your job. You're Phil.
I am Phil. My other co-host is Vincent, and welcome to the Monster Truck Outlaws of the West podcast. If you're new here, welcome aboard. We've done a lot of episodes over the last year. So thank you for joining us here tonight on Wednesday. We usually do these on Fridays, but this is so special and so big that we had to bump it up to Wednesday. Also because what we're doing involves this Friday, and we just want to make any sense. So, yeah, that's why we're here.
So are we going to be doing Wednesdays from now on, or how's this working?
Well, we'll see you back here next Friday for our regularly scheduled time slot. But for tonight, we're here on Wednesday, and thank you for joining us. And if you guys are tuning in live or after the fact, whenever, please make sure you like and share this video. Share it all across social media. Let everybody know what we have going on here tonight. It's very special.
You know, I'm looking at the chat right now. People are saying, let's do this. So, Phil, introduced our guests tonight.
Yes, guests. We have three guests here, all facets of monster truck history. We have a 20-plus year veteran, a continued rising star, and a fresh up-and-comer that's going to be making his debut this weekend. Obsession Racing has produced a lot of great trucks over the years and had a lot of great historical moments, and tonight is the kickoff to yet another great feat on the team. So joining us to unveil the brand-new wild card monster truck, Eric Swanson, Beau Swanson, and BJ Johnson.
Eric, Beau, and BJ, welcome to the podcast. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for coming, guys. It's really exciting to have everybody here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You know what? Let's start it off with Eric, the driver of Obsessed. We actually did a podcast with Eric, so make sure you check that out after the podcast. Eric, let's start it off. You know, what's new with Obsession Racing? You know, you guys recently located to Idaho from California. So what's been going on at the shop recently?
Well, we tore the trucks apart, getting them ready for this up-and-coming show. But other than that, we've been having fun at the ranch, riding dirt bikes, riding the side-by-side, just having a good time so far.
Yeah, a lot of good times thus far. It's a lot of property you have out there. You know, how does it compare from your longtime shop out in California?
Yeah, well, the one in California was quite a bit smaller than the one here, so we got started on a couple more projects, doing a couple bigger things in the garage now. But it's awesome. We can ride our dirt bike from the house and not have to worry about cops. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it's such a small town up there in Rupert, Idaho. It seems like you guys have to be the top celebrities in town.
Yeah, well, it's funny when Beau was testing out here, we were in town talking to a guy, and he's like, "You guys are the ones with the monster trucks, right?" We're like, "Well, I guess word travels fast around here." So it's definitely a small community, and we're loving it so far.
There we go. There I am. You know, you guys have a lot of cool things in store for out there in Idaho, but 2021, you've had a couple of events thus far. I know you guys kicked it off in Salt Lake City for Monster Jam and have had a couple others since then. How has the 2021 season been thus far for you guys?
You know, yeah, we had Salt Lake and we also did Billings, and I mean, those two shows were really good. Everything went well, other than Travis ripping the whole front end out of the truck. But other than that, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, I'm just looking at that Salt Lake City weekend. I know So obviously you had mentioned the breakage there with the pseudo troublemaker truck, but do you notice anything different with the events from maybe the years prior? This is a lot of changing parts in monster trucks right now. Did you notice anything significantly different?
Obviously the world's a little different right now, but we just me and the twins went in, did our thing, and had a good time. We hit up the bar after the show, relaxed a little bit, but it was fun.
Yeah, and you were running those events with Travis Groth. He also came in and did Troublemaker and Billings. What's it been like working with the Groth brothers?
Yeah, the funny thing is, me and both twins, actually, we started I believe the same year driving. So it's been fun. They're almost like brothers to me. We're always on tour all the time. We're on tour quite a bit, actually. So we get along really well. It was really fun, actually. We had a great time.
So now let's transition over to Beau Swanson. Beau, let's hear about your background. How did you get started in motorsports, Beau?
Growing up, I've always been around the monster trucks, obviously coming over to Rick, Joe, and Eric's house. I kind of worked my way in, got to do a couple of shows just crewing, kind of learning some things. Eric and I always used to play with the Hot Wheels monster trucks, So we've always been around it together, and now we actually get to compete together, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
So what's it been like growing up in the Swanson family?
It's been a lot of fun, a lot of interesting moments, that's for sure. It's been a lot of fun. That's been about it. But got to experience a lot of different things at a young age that a lot of people don't get to do, and I'm happy that I get to continue to do it.
Yeah, and you have a great platform here. And actually, there's a picture over in this banners here, Vince. If you want to pull it up, it should be the second picture in the queue. Let's see. Who are these guys here?
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that, Eric.
Look at
that was back before I knew what the barber was, apparently. So
yeah, it's obviously in your guys' blood. Has it always been your dream to be driving one of the trucks with Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, growing up, we always used to play with the little Hot Wheels monster trucks. Always used to race around with all those. Every day it's been a dream of mine, and I finally get the opportunity to do it. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, a lot of excitement. I know we're building the excitement here on the podcast. If you guys are just tuning in, let's get a picture of me on the screen. There you go. All right, wide shot. If everybody's tuning in here, make sure you like and share this video across social media. We're going to be revealing it pretty soon here. We got to play it up, learn the back stories, and catch everybody up to speed. So we've talked with Eric, who's really the big chief right now at Obsession Racing. We have Beau's coming into the seat, but we have another guy here that's coming on board with the team. It's BJ Johnson. Now, BJ, it's no secret. You've been making the interview rounds lately. We've seen you on all sorts of broadcasts telling your story, and tonight's going to be no exception. But to catch everyone up to speed, maybe that for some of the folks that haven't been paying attention, what have you been up to for the last year or so?
Yeah, so when the whole world changed a little bit, they pretty much let everybody go at Feld, and it wasn't just even Monster Jam. It was Disney on Ice. It was everyone, So it wasn't just Monster Truck Shop, and everybody had to go do something else, So I've always had a CDL. I could always go drive trucks somewhere. So I went and drove trucks for a little bit, and then there was a fabrication shop. It was actually funny. They used to store the Feld trailers there, so we always had to go over there and grab stuff every once in a while. But they hit me up. They knew I could fabricate, and they knew I'd build monster trucks and stuff like that. And they wanted me to build some custom trucks for them. And this is what they do every day. They've been open about 5 years. And when I went over there was actually like 10 guys from the Feld shop there. So a bunch of the monster truck crew chiefs were actually working there as installers and building beds. And it's a good company. It's a family-run thing. There's about 40 of us that do it, and we've got, we're like 90 trucks behind for dealerships. And I've just did a big deal with a semi company, so we're actually stretching some frames and shortening frames on some Peterbilts and building dump trucks and just fabricating. If I'm not welding there, I'm at my shop at my house welding in it. So got a lot of projects going on right now.
Yeah, you're always a gearhead, and I think anybody really knows you, can attest to that. Anything you can grab, you can build something and make it work. And I think that's very natural why you are the bad boy of monster trucks. Now, I don't know if I recall, where did you get that nickname, bad boy of monster trucks?
So we were doing off-road stuff. We were doing some tough truck arena stuff with Randy Smallwood and everybody out there on the West Coast, because I'm from California. So doing some of that stuff, I met Craig Christensen at Off-Road Expo, got to talking with him, and he says, hey, come crew for me. And he says, I know you know how to drive. Maybe we can teach you to drive one of the trucks. So I crewed for him for a little while. I drove the semi, and it was a husband and wife type deal, and they were driving both of their trucks. And then Craig's wife had gotten sick one weekend and couldn't make it to a show. So he says, hey, you're driving this weekend. And the only thing I ever did was driving in and out of the trailer. So I ended up driving Misbehaving. So pink and purple truck, girls truck, and did really well the first night. I think first or second night I won racing or whatever. And I mean, they had the Bigfoot trucks there, and Jimmy Coogan stuff was there. And they were asking Craig's like, where'd this guy come from? And Craig's like, I don't know, man. He's a motocrosser and he does off-road stuff. And we did maybe a month like that. And I was still driving Misbehaving because of the contract type thing. And Scott Heaton, he's the one that started it. He used to call Craig and the bad boys from Utah, because Craig would always run his mouth on the microphone and he wanted me to do the same thing. We wanted people to know when they seen the semi roll into the pits, a lot of guys used to look up and see us pull in like, man, not these guys. Like, not – even though Craig owned it, Craig's like, you're going to run it into the ground. We're going to win. We don't lose. So there was a few veteran drivers that I'm friends with now, but at the time, they couldn't stand me. I was a punk kid with a green hair and a mohawk and tattoos, and they did not like that. It was a good old boy sport, and everybody wanted to keep it that way, and nobody was trash talking no one. And I started doing it, and I pissed a lot of people off. I ain't going to lie about it. So we're all friends now. It was all for entertainment purposes, and it was all just for the fans and stuff. But I always was the bad guy. So then it just always stuck throughout the years. And I wouldn't say I have the best attitude anyways, and I'm pretty blunt. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. So it just kind of stuck, and we just rolled with it.
And you've made a career that's over 2 decades at this point, and it's going to have another chapter here with the wild card truck. But your last event was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, December of 2019, obviously driving your familiar Gas Monkey garage truck. Did you know at that time that was going to be the last time you were strapping into a monster truck?
We had talked about it. Pretty much kind of the way we had it, I was a dummy, and you can kind of look ahead on it. It was, if you were going to do the overseas tour, you weren't doing the U.S. tour, your time in the seat was getting close. And Richard and I were pretty good friends about stuff, and Richard and I talked, and I said, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this, and I'm just doing overseas stuff right now. And then actually going to that event, they said I didn't have a schedule for the next year because they didn't know what was going on with Gas Monkey. So I knew going into that, it was actually not my truck. It was one of the other Feld trucks we put a body on. So there was a lot of things that were different. There was some stuff that I wouldn't say was wrong. I would just say that it wasn't done to the way I would normally run my truck. And I'm not blaming parts. I'm not blaming the crew. It wasn't set up the way I wanted it. And I just took a couple bad hits and broke the shock off, and I was done. So the last time I actually got to drive the truck, it was my last freestyle. I had the guys coming over the headset, and they're like, hey, burn this thing down. We don't care how bad it is. We'll put it back in the trailer. We want to see you go out with a bang, And the second jump in, the shock broke off. So about the only thing we tore up was a shock, a hood, and the windshield, because I threw the steering wheel out of it.
Oh, man, that sounds like a fun time. But I got to ask, did you ever think you'd be driving again?
Yeah, when I announced my retirement that I was going to, stop driving, I was still thinking I was going to get the Feld shop working on trucks, and Cody Saucier and I used to build trucks. I mean, I was building 15 or 20 trucks a year. Even the older trucks, we were swapping chassis out. And so I knew my time was done with them, but I really wasn't going to leave the company. So I was just going to stay in the shop and work. And Alex Blackwell was coming down every once in a while helping me and doing motor stuff. And we were just like, we'll just build trucks. We can't do this forever. And we'll build the trucks and let the new wave of drivers going to do it. And then everybody knows the world just stopped and everything changed. So then after that, it was like, I know I can probably go drive for some people. There's a couple guys that as soon as I said I was going to stop driving, called. They go, hey, anytime you want to jump in the seat, just call me. So it was pretty cool. A lot of the guys were like, anytime you want to drive, I'll sit out that weekend and you can go drive that thing. So I knew I'd get back in the seat. I didn't know I was going to jump in a seat for Rick Swanson, because just it's West Coast, East Coast type thing. Most of the stuff around here that I would go help some guys out, I could just drive my own personal vehicle there. So this will be exciting.
Definitely. Talk about your relationship with the Swansons. How did you meet Rick and Eric?
Yeah, so I had talked about it on another podcast thing with my daughter, because they have one. And it was funny because the first show I ever went to, and Rick was there, is when he had the Obsession truck, and it was I think it was the teal green chassis thing and the Line-X sponsor thing. And the first time I saw the truck, I actually laughed. I'm like, well, who is this guy with all these decals on there? This thing has stickers all over it and sponsors all over it, but it was pristine. It was like a show truck. We did some races and he did good and was right there. And if the truck broke, he fixed it. And we went to do SEMA stuff, and we had our trucks there, and we were in the parking lot painting with a paintbrush, trying to make them look nice. And we get ready to drive them up front, and Rick's sitting there like a brand new truck, made us all look stupid. And I'm like, who is this dude? What is going on here? And we just ran with them. We did a whole summer together, and it was fun. We had a good time and stuff. And then next thing you know, this little snotty little kid's running around the pit area, and I'm like, who's that? And they're like, oh, that's Rick's kid. And I was just like, well, he's into everything. He's always running around doing something. But I've actually got to watch Eric grow up. And it's funny. We have a picture Rick showed me of Eric holding one of my very first helmets, which was just a white helmet with a skull paint on the front of it, and he's holding it. I don't even think he comes up to my waist, and then now it's like, well, he's kind of the boss, so I'm going to go drive for him. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat because I've known these guys for so long, and it's almost like it's an honor because I've drove so many different trucks and I drove so many different independent trucks that it's just like another notch on the belt that I get to go drive for those guys.
And that exact picture you're talking about, at least I'm pretty sure we have it in the queue here. Vincent, you want to pull it up?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Look at that. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We're going to have to recreate that when you guys are out in Glendale in a couple weeks. Add another chapter.
Yes.
Eric, do you have any memories hanging around BJ at a young age?
Yeah, he was with Craig and we were doing all the summer stuff. So I remember hanging around. I'm sure I was messing with him, unplugging battery chargers or something. But, it's really cool to see. For him I grew up watching him and now he's coming to drive for our team. So kind of a full circle kind of deal. It's a really cool opportunity.
But what are your thoughts of adding BJ Johnson to the team is a big addition. What are your thoughts having BJ driving the wild card?
I think it's great. Coming up with the name and design and all that, seeing it come to life. Couldn't think of anybody better. Someone that can go out, drive the wheels off of it, turn back to the pits, fix it, and do it all again the next day.
Go ahead, Vincent.
So I got a question for BJ. What was going through your mind when Rick gave you the call and was like, I need you to drive my truck?
It was funny because I've always told everybody, independents, or even the company guys that I still talk to, I said, if you guys run into a problem, just call me. It could be a wiring issue. It could be something simple, or I might have a fix for it, or I might have something, going on. So I get calls from like Jim Kohler and Brad Allen, and every once in a while Corey will call, and we all kind of share each other's information. And so the number had popped up, and I was at work. I was actually welding on a truck. The number had popped up, and I seen it said Temecula on it, and I was just like, I don't know who it is. I'm not answering it, and I was kind of busy. Then he left me a voicemail, and it says, hey, it's Rick Swanson. Give me a call back. And so I was like, okay, they're probably just having a problem with the truck. No big deal. Never even thought that he would be. I wanted to go drive, So I was kind of like, I wasn't putting it off. I was trying to finish what I was doing at work. So I was like, all right, I need to call him back. So finally I called him back, and he was just like, hey, buddy, what's going on? And that's about how everybody's conversation starts when they need something. So it's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm just like, oh, nothing much, man. How you been? What's going on with you? And he's like, well, I got a question to ask you. That's always the second thing that someone always asks me. So I was like, I'll say, yeah, man, it's all good. What's up? And he's like, hey, we've got some shows we need to go do, and we need a really experienced driver to go drive. And it's like, and I've said it before on the other podcast, and if we don't bring it up, I'll bring it up right now. It's not taking nothing away from Beau. Beau's just a rookie driver, and the shows I'm going to drive, it's something that I drove for years. So it's way easier for me to go drive it while he's learning, because you don't want to. There's too many young drivers that got thrown to the wolves. Even Eric has got thrown to the wolves, and it doesn't work out well, So I was like, yeah, dude. I said, I can do it. I I can't be gone away from the Premier Truck Center where I work now. I can't be gone all the time, and I don't want to be away from home a lot. I got a lot of stuff going on here too. So he's like, nope, we'll just bring you in, kind of set you up for the truck. I'll go in early this time. But if another show pops up and it's a big show and Beau's not feeling confident, because you got to be really confident to go do this, he says, I'll just have you go drive, you know. And I say, that's no big deal. I'll go do it, you know. So it's pretty cool. I think with Beau being around the Eric and Swansons and all that stuff, and anybody that's around monster trucks and works on them, you're going to be a good driver. There's no questions asked. But the caliber of shows and stuff that happen now, the way the ramps are set, and you had to know how to hit something with a certain speed and clear this and don't jump into another ramp, that stuff takes time. So I think he's going to pick it up pretty quick. I probably won't drive a lot because I see him picking it up pretty fast.
Oh, well, I don't know why I'm on screen here, but
there you are. How's it going? What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know. Somebody slipped the button, but that's okay.
Like
We believe you. All right, we believe you, BJ. We believe in you. Surprise. Okay. Anyways, okay. Well, now's a good time to transition to the next part of the program, which is why everybody's here. So make sure you guys like and share this video if you haven't already. Now is the time to like and share and tell all your friends to jump in the room as we're just moments away from unveiling the wild card. Now, I got to pivot back to Beau. You know, you've always wanted to get behind the wheel. How did that conversation start to get to where we're at right now?
Well, as a lot of people know, like Eric mentioned earlier, they have a lot of property, a lot of places to go ride dirt bikes. Fortunately, Rick, Mr. Evil Knievel, got a little hurt, a little busted up.
Forgot how to ride straight down the road.
You know, it happens when you get a little older, but I won't bang him up too hard. So it just kind of came about. He said, gonna need a driver, and since I do live close after they moved up to Idaho, my name came about. And he did say, like, you know, kind of want to move away. Maybe not so much retire the Obsession name, but if we're going to have a new driver, want a new name on there. So we thought about names coming up with wild card. Even had the idea of coming up with the graphics and all that. So that's pretty cool. And, you know, making my debut this weekend in Pocatello. So can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong event this weekend, Pocatello, Idaho. Written down, it's the Bannock County Event Center for Highlight Reel Entertainment. That's a new group that Ricky Fowler's got put together, so very excited to see that. But, you know, you had some seat time. You know, now that Obsession Racing is in nice open land out there in Idaho, you have a little test track going, and there's an awesome video of you testing the truck on the Obsession Race Team's YouTube channel. So what was going through your mind when you strapped into that truck, fire suit, helmet and all, for the first time and started making passes and jumps?
To be perfectly honest, once I was completely strapped in, I wasn't as nervous as just moving it around the shop and all that. Once I got strapped in, helmet on, of course, I'm not going to say I wasn't nervous at all, but I felt pretty good. Learned somewhat quickly how to hold the throttle and all that good stuff. So hopefully that transitions well to this weekend show, and I can do pretty well.
Let me look at my clock right here. I think it's that time. Is it, Phil?
It's that time. I think it's that time. So once again, for those of you just jumping in, like and share this video. Like and share this video because it is now that time. We've been hyping it up for the last number of days.
Show us the truck.
Show us and everybody.
Let's figure out how to flip the camera around.
Let's show us the truck.
Oh, no,
that didn't work.
We lost it.
He disconnected.
Of
Okay,
course,
let's do it this way.
ruins it.
The people watching.
All right. So since we are doing the whole FaceTime thing, I'll probably be backwards. So here it goes.
Uh-oh. No, it's not backwards. All right. Yeah, there it is. There's Beau's name. See some cards.
So my truck has this graffiti kind of print in it, so we kind of wanted to keep it as a team, and we kind of went with a gambling theme on it, casino theme.
It's looking good. It's a nice, fresh design from the team. There it is right there. There's your screenshot of the wild card. All right, here's the tailgate.
Screenshot.
Yeah, that's what all the kids are doing these days.
Can't get too close to it because I wrapped it for the first time, so there is a couple wrinkles in it. But it looks pretty good. There you go. There's your screenshot.
There it is. There it is. Got wild card live in the flesh. It's debuting this weekend, Pocatello, Idaho.
That's it. I was trying to get a headshot. That's not working.
Uh-oh. I don't want you climbing.
I think we actually have some renders, Phil.
We do have some renders because there's a lot of big plans for the truck coming down the line here.
So before we go into that, I got to ask Eric and Beau, the body you have it on now, was that the original body you guys wanted it on?
So this one, since it's Beau's first time, in case he forgets when to hit the brake or the gas, we this is the old Obsession body actually. So we threw it on this one for now, and then we have a F100 body that it's going to be on for when he messes up with this one.
Uh-oh. Well,
All right, cool. Well, here's the render right here.
that's going to look real snazzy on the snazzy body. So, Beau, now we have your face on the screen here with the fancy graphic. Walk us through the design process here. This is definitely your doing here. Why did we choose all this theming?
So like I said earlier, Rick kind of wanted to come up with a new name with a new driver. And we were going through a bunch of different names, nothing quite fit. And for anybody that knows me, I'm a huge baseball fan, and I was looking at the standings one day. I'm like, wild card. That's a pretty cool name, and they all seem to like it. And just with the World Finals being in Vegas so long, I've always been a huge fan of the whole gambling scheme and all that. So I kind of put two and two together and came up with this.
I like it. BJ, what are your thoughts on the wild card?
It's cool. I like it. When Rick had told me what was going on, he says, "Hey, we're probably going to do the Super Duty body with the scheme on it," and sent me the picture. And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Well, then when the picture you sent me, and I said, "That's F100 body," and he says, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to have one ready. Let's run the Super Duty so it gets tore up." So if Beau don't tear it up, and hopefully I don't, it might be on there for a little while. But if Beau does tear it up, or I do, then Beau will get the F100s. So I think it's pretty cool. It's something different, and it's just flashy enough that I think it's going to be a good picture taking truck. You know, you gotta, if you put too much on a truck and take a picture of it, it looks too blurry. There's too much stuff going on. If you have something like that that's full yellow in the front and the thing on the back with a big name, it's almost like kind of an old school thing where it's real big, flashy name, and you'll be able to see it anywhere in the stand. So I think it's a cool, easy concept, but it's a lot going on there too.
What you got, Phil?
Yeah, Eric, since you wrapped it, do you like the design?
Yeah, no, I mean, I always liked it when he came up with, he drew it up on his computer, and then once we got it on the truck, it really, the wild card, the yellow on the, I guess it's gray and black kind of, it really popped. So everyone here really loves it so far.
Everyone, including your father. What does Mr. Rick Swanson think of the wild card?
Come on, Rick.
Everyone
Where are
knows
you?
hiding back there.
I'm counting shirts for Pocatello.
There it is.
He's a faceless voice these days, folks. Rick Swanson, everybody.
I'm just over here working.
It looks really good. I'm not in the picture, but it looks really good. I can't wait to see Beau drive for his first time. I think BJ's going to do an awesome job. We'll get some good pictures while he's driving and while Beau's driving. We'll be doing a YouTube video very shortly.
We can't wait to see it. And you're counting the T-shirts, so we're hopefully we can help you sell a couple more shirts as these events go down.
Obsessed wear.
There it is. In case you didn't know, Obsessed Wear is the place to be for all your Obsession Racing gear and off-road apparel. So again, if you guys are enjoying the show here tonight, make sure you like and share this video. Make sure you share it as well. We just unveiled the truck. We'll show it again throughout the night here. Some of the graphics. There it is again on screen if you're just joining us. So make sure you like and share this video. Let everybody know, hey, Wildcard is here, and it's mean, and it's going to take some names as the events go down the line here. So now, Beau, I know obviously you've been in the game for a while. You know, it's your last name. You have no choice. But I know you're a fan of the sport, and I have to ask a nerd question. I know a lot of nerds, if they want to make their own monster truck, they want to know a theme song. So if you had any say, what would be the theme song for your truck?
I definitely have to go with Ace of Spades by Motorhead. You know, something fast, loud, and fits the truck perfect, I think.
Fast and Loud. I know somebody that used to be on Fast and Loud. He drove a gas motor truck. Hey, so Eric, you know, what's it going to mean for you to finally get to compete against your cousin? I mean, you guys have been right alongside each other for so long. Now you're going to be competing in the same events, going head-to-head in the same brackets. What's that going to mean for you?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's something we kind of always wanted and what we talked about since we were little, you know. And we used to ride dirt bikes in the desert together, and we'd always try and jump further than the next one, you know. So I think it's going to be like a fun competition, you know, but it's also going to be kind of cool to have both trucks have Swanson on it in a way. I mean, we had it with my dad, you know, but just with the cousin relationship, I think will be really cool.
It's a great pivot to keep the legacy going, and this is definitely a great pivot for that. Now, you know, Beau, what's one thing that you've learned from Eric, you know, throughout this entire process?
I learned a lot more just being in the shop, just on the trucks themselves, but definitely driving style. I go back, watch old footage of him driving all the time, you know, crewing for him. I definitely watch how he controlled the throttle, controlled brake, all that fun stuff. So, you know, coming up with such a good driver, taking notes, it's definitely going to be a good advantage.
So, Beau, what'd you learn from Uncle Rick?
Well, like I said earlier, definitely not how to ride a dirt bike. You know, same thing. When I was just a young kid, he showed me the basics, how to fuel up the truck, how to check the tire pressure. So growing up doing all the very basic stuff, he definitely taught me, and really taught me more in-depth stuff. And between both Rick and Eric, I've learned so much, and I'm incredibly thankful to have both of them.
It's such a great learning tree, and now you have BJ Johnson in the fold too. And BJ, you know, we've talked about it. You've driven over 20 different trucks in your career, for all walks of life, from the biggest venues to the smallest towns. You've really done everything in the business. How do you adjust from driving from truck to truck each time from over the years? And what's that comparison going to be like now driving a truck for Obsession Racing?
You know, it's actually pretty hard. You know, it's about every truck I drove, everyone has a different attitude, and that's what I always called it, because you never know what it's going to do. From the Patrick chassis trucks working for Craig, and then to the Monster Patrol and the front engine stuff, like Minch chassis when I worked for Paul, and then going into the barefoot trucks. I mean, it was different motor combinations, different trannies, different gearing, different tires. I mean, everything was different. The wildest one I ever drove was probably Bill Payne's California Kid, because that thing, you just pretty much hung on. That's all you could do with that thing. There was really no control in that truck. It was out of control. You just had to keep it on its wheels, which didn't always work. But then going to the Feld trucks, everything was two chassis, and everything was set up the same. So you could actually jump from truck to truck to truck to truck all the time. And even when I drove the Gravedigger truck, the chassis was the cage was a lot taller. You sat higher in the truck, but it was still the same underneath. But I don't know. It's going to take a little bit of figuring out. It's like, you know, and Rick and I talked, I'm not going to go there and set the world on fire and qualify number one and win the whole event. I'm not going there to do that. I'm going to go there and learn the truck, see what the truck can do, you know, and start off easy. I mean, that's how I had all the trucks. You know, you just can't go out there and point and shoot and hope for the best, because it's not going to turn out good. It never does. Any rookie driver you see that just kind of holds it to the floor, they've got no skill. They're just hanging on for their life. And that, I don't need to be doing that with a truck like this. You know, it's not something I drive every weekend. It's not my money, and it's not big corporate backed company that I used to work for. So it's like, You just need to go through the motions and figure it out. I'm pretty excited because I haven't drove a truck with this chassis. You know, I've drove about every chassis there is, and I've always watched Eric run his, and the thing works. You know, and I drove trucks like, man, it's so nice. It's like a cushion, and I got in it, and I could barely walk when I got out of it. So it's like every truck's different. They're going to work or they're not going to work. Everybody's driving style is different. So it's going to be fun. You know, his trucks always work. Rick's trucks always work. We sit back and watch. Cody Saucy and I, we did a lot of shock stuff for Feld. So we would sit back and we watch trucks jump. Our trucks were set up to jump huge, but anything jump small would just like beat you to death, knock the wind out of you. And their trucks seem like they're set up for everything. And we just never could figure that out with ours, you know, and it's like, well, we're just go big or go home type thing. So we're like, oh, just set the trucks all the way. But it'll be fun. It'll be something different, and add another truck chassis to my list.
So I heard you mention the California Kid. Would you ever want to get behind the wheel of the California Kid maybe one more time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's probably the funnest truck, you know, like the front engine Monster Patrol truck, you know, is a Mint style chassis. It was one Mint drove when I worked for Paul. Those things worked, and they worked really well, you know, but they were fast. They were just straight line fast. They cornered okay with all the coilover stuff. And then the barefoot trucks, the motors were just ungodly in them. That's the only truck I ever drove. It just plants you in the seat, and you would stay that way. I mean, if you turned your head a little bit and you kept your head that way until you let off the gas. The California Kid truck, I always bet with Bill, I said, if you took the toter tires, all their tires, just put two of them out there, I bet you I could slap wheelie off them, because it just a truck would do it. It's so short you can touch tire to tire in it, but it was a blast to drive. I've had guys that had drive for Bill now message me, and they're like, how did you do this in this truck? How did you do this? And I'm like, don't force it. Just let the truck do what it wants to do. But Bill and I've laughed. We've joked around before, and I said, if you are ever close in Florida, you needed a driver, I'd jump back in that thing in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it.
So out of all those different trucks, is what has been your favorite thus far?
There's a couple of them. I drove Boogie Van a couple weekends for Paul, and that one was probably the most awkward truck to drive because no one realized how far forward the cage was. So your foot pedals were actually between the front shock towers. So you could probably do a little bit of a wheelie, but you thought you were 40 feet in the air because you're sitting out on the front. And if it bounced and it was going to the nose, you thought your feet were going to touch the ground. The Gravedigger truck, when I drove Carl Van Horn's Gravedigger truck, the first time I jumped it and landed, I pulled my feet up to the seat. And I was like, what just came through the floor? Like something happened. And I jumped it again and did the same thing. When I landed, I pulled my feet back. Well, what I was seeing was the tires, because I sat so high in the truck, I could see the tires out past the fenders. You know, and it took a little bit to get it figured out, you know. Every truck's different. You know, every truck had its own thing. Probably my best working truck that was kind of like our baby, and it just ran, was my Mohawk Warrior truck. It was John Seasock's old grinder truck. It was a little bit wore out. You know, the chassis was a little bit wore out, and there was some of the holes in the forelinks were a little bit sloppy. But you could do some stuff in that truck, and it just took it. It never broke. It never really broke down, had an issue. My wife was the one who was working on it right there towards the end before we got the Gas Monkey truck, you know, we tried switching everything over from my Mohawk truck when we built the new Gas Monkey truck. The Gas Monkey truck was beautiful. It was like a custom car show type thing, but we both hated that truck. That truck just, it never performed the way we wanted it to perform, you know, and we always had a problem with it. And it wasn't nothing we were doing or the company was doing. It was just, we were trying a couple different things and that wasn't working. So we'd switch it back and then we'd have a steer problem. Then we'd have this, we'd have that. It was just, we worked on that truck every single weekend. But the Mohawk truck, you could jump in the thing. It could be 300 degrees and it would still start up and it would still go, you know? So that was kind of our baby truck. That's the one we liked.
So we got another question here. This one is going to be for Beau. You know, other than Eric and Rick, who would be someone you'd want to race against in wildcard?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's a lot of people I've always dreamed about lining up against. Like you guys talked about earlier, the Groff twins they're always super fun to be around and super fun to race. So I'd probably have to say them for sure.
So who's going to win head-to-head, Eric or Beau?
Well, the rule is when you race each other, you can't put it in second gear or use rear steer.
Uh-oh.
That's mine, Tyler's rule.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, if everybody has any questions for Eric, Beau, or BJ, now's the time to leave them in the comment section. We'll bring them up here as we slowly pivot and continue to wind down here on this awesome podcast. Again, if you're just joining us, we unveiled the wild card monster truck. Vincent, throw up that render once again. They got the real truck all wrapped and ready to go for this weekend in Pocatello, Idaho. There's Beau smiling loud and proud, and BJ Johnson's also ready to go for the end of the month in Glendale. And, BJ, you've been to Glendale, Arizona in the past. State Farm Stadium is one of, not the largest floor that Monster Jam runs in anywhere, let alone North America or just worldwide. What are some memories you have competing over there over the years?
Yeah, so one thing in Glendale is when you come into the stadium wide open, because that was we were kind of starting in the doorway. It was worse than Vegas. It was like you're never going to end. You feel like you were just going to end up in the next state. That thing is so long, and the walls are so tall when you first go in there. It's really awkward. I'd rather run 70 miles an hour plus at Vegas than come flying into the Glendale Stadium. So it'd be interesting to see what track design and stuff we have. But Glendale for me is kind of redemption. So the last time I was at Glendale, my truck actually shut off in the air trying to jump a whole pod and came down and hit pretty hard. Ended up breaking my tailbone and compressing my spine. And it actually put me out for about 3 or 4 weeks. And that's when Joe Sylvester was driving. We were actually filming for Gas Monkey, and everybody thinks that I drove over the Hellcat that we had there. We were smashing for the TV show. And it actually wasn't me because I was kind of in a back race. So Chuck Warner actually came over and drove it. And I was telling him, my Chuck did it for me because I physically couldn't even get up in the truck. So Glendale will be fun. It's just a huge floor. It's usually the tracks that I've always seen there. It's like you jump, land, and the minute you jump and land, you're back into another stack. So it's as big as the floor is. You don't carry a lot of wheel speed, but there's a lot of jumps and a lot of stuff going on. So we'll see what happens. It's got to be better than the last time I was there, I hope.
Phil, what you got for us?
Oh, man, I think we had a fan question. If you want to pull it up on screen there, Vincent, from with Sam Hollander.
Yeah, we got one from
Yeah, it says dream venue to compete at, Beau.
There's always been 2 that I love going to every year. The fairgrounds in Del Mar down in Southern California is always a lot of fun. And growing up in Southern California, Angel Stadium has always been so much fun to go, even just as a kid going to watch the shows. Whenever I think monster trucks, I always think of Angel Stadium.
So I got to ask, Beau, what are your expectations for this weekend in Pocatello?
Honestly, I don't have too many. As long as I can go out there, keep the truck in one piece, put on a decent show for the fans, I'll be beyond thrilled.
Got another question from good old Buddha, and he says, BJ, how was it having your spouse as your crew chief?
It was good. It's when you learn a lot about each other when you're together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One thing with her, she was a female crew chief, which there wasn't a lot of them at the time, and she ran the trailer. So whatever truck was riding with me, she was also in charge of that truck, ordering the parts, ordering everything for the trailer, and making sure that the other crew chief we had with us was doing what they were supposed to be doing. So she had her hands full, but a lot of people are just like, oh, how it is working for your wife or have your wife and you be your crew chief. I can honestly tell you that I don't know how many times she'd come across the radio and she'd be upset or mad about something, or something was going on with the truck or whatever. And she's like, you need to burn that thing down, bring it back to pieces. And if I crashed it, she never even say anything. There was times we bring it back on 2 loaders and pieces, and I just give her a kiss on the cheek. And I'm like, I'm going to autographs. And I'd come back out of autographs. She'd have it tired down and loaded, and actually the second truck and the trailer loaded. So there was only ever one time, and I'll tell a story for it. She wasn't feeling good. We were up in Canada, and I was actually driving metal militia because Todd couldn't off-road race. And she wasn't feeling good, and she's like, hey, I'm not telling you to take it easy, but you're probably going to crash because we're trying some crazy stuff in this little arena. And she's like, don't crash on the other end because I'm not coming down there. And so I was just like, okay, whatever, So the first one, I think I laid it over like right in front of her, and I kind of looked through the window, and she's like, you're just staying in, right? I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. Well, I come out for freestyle and jump the car stack and actually clip the pod. I kind of ended it down the opposite way. And she looked, I could see her face, and I heard her come across the radio, and she said, I'm not coming down there. You need to stay in it. And I said, nope, too late. And I pulled the headset off. I could hear her, and I kicked the front windshield out and crawled out. That's the only time she was mad. Like, she was pretty pissed off about it, because she had to come down there and get it. I actually think she sent somebody else down there, but no, she was great. There wasn't a lot of female crew chiefs, and that stuff's heavy, and she figured out a way to do it. I don't know. They always call me a farm boy. I can grab anything, pick it up, and put it on there. She couldn't do that. She didn't have a lot of upper body strength, but she had a lot of leg strength. So she would figure out ways how to do it, and she would do it 10 times faster than guys in the shop, the new guys that would come in. And we'd always laugh, and I'm just like, don't mess with her. And I said, she knows what she's doing. She's grown up with it. So, no, it was awesome. It was a good time.
Got another fan question here from Isaiah Bailey Gilliard. This is an interesting question because, Eric, you've gone through many body over the years for Obsessed, and he wants to know, question for Eric, what other body have you thought about using for Obsessed?
We were actually thinking about doing, and maybe in the future, or what was going to be for my dad's truck, is he had a show truck, which he got. The show truck basically transitioned into the monster truck, but he had an old mailbox Bronco, and we always thought it'd be kind of cool to make a mold of that for the truck. But the only problems we ran into is we'd have to stretch the wheelbase so much. We weren't sure if it was going to look too good or not, but we've always kicked the idea around.
And we got a question here from Eric Shockey. I'm going to spin it a little bit, and this will be a question for everyone. What do you guys think about the mini monsters running around in the West?
I think yours is the best.
Damn kids getting in the way all the time. Tell them I said that.
Well, he heard you.
I heard that Corbin kid's pretty good, so.
Well, it's pretty fun when we do the fair shows with Eric Shockey's son Corbin. I always like to talk him into hitting the biggest jump, so his dad has to fix it.
BJ, what's your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you right now, I have a mini monster here at my house. Michael Brister, the guy that I'm building this blown mega truck for, he actually had it when he was a kid. All his brothers drove it and whatever. It sat in California forever. He went home for Thanksgiving, and they found it in the storage unit. It's locked in the storage unit for 8 years. He brings it back here, and it still ran. Everything worked on it. It's a little Patriot chassis. I mean, it's an older truck. And him and his buddies at his house built a ramp, and they were jumping couches with this thing. And I'm like 5-6 foot off the ground, probably 30 foot out. And they ended up finally breaking the bolt out of the frame and bending one of the shocks. And he says, hey, can you fix this thing? And I said, yeah, what were you guys doing? So then when he told me, I'm like, man, these things are legit. They're no joke, these little mini monsters. And I actually got in it after I got it fixed here at my house and drove it around. And I'm like, I'm 6'2", 230, and I fit right in it. And I'm like, I could see these guys jumping these things and doing dumb stuff in them. But I think they're cool. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool because an adult could do it or even a kid could do it. But they ain't no joke. People are like, oh, it's just a big go-kart. No, I've seen what these boys can do here with them, and they're pretty cool.
Eric, I think you hurt the Mentors' feelings. You cannot forget about Warhead and the Mentors, and we have a comment here from Lee Plano, and he says Eric and Rick are a bad influence to the mini drivers.
We just like to see them push the envelope. You never got to find your limits.
We also have a question. This is for you, Rick. Or no, Eric, sorry. I don't think we'll be seeing a backflip from Rick, but Rudy says mini backflip in Glendale, Eric.
If the ramp's in the way, it's in the way.
Oh my. That's our past guest, Rudy Martin Del Campo. So make sure to check out his episode as well. But just another follow-up there from Chad Barbier. He says, question for all, would you rather hit a backflip or an RV?
RV.
RV.
Say BJ, yeah, RV. Everybody likes the RVs.
We used to do Danny Torres shows, which now is Monster X shows. When we did them back when Larry Swim and I drove for Paul, they would pay us an extra $500 for either one of us to hit RV. I would hit RV with nothing alongside it. I'd blast an RV raw. No car, no dirt. I'm like, yeah, we're just going to blast an RV. Like, go for it.
What we got, Phil?
Oh, so I know there's a lot of collectors in the chat here. A lot of people are always collecting something. Another good question comes in from Thomas Parks. He says, if you can have a die cast of any, this is for everybody, if you can have a die cast of any of your trucks that you've driven that hasn't been made into a toy, which one would you pick?
I've only got the one option. So.
Oh, yeah, well.
I don't want to sound cocky, but I have a lot of die casts of all the trucks I've drove.
You have a California kid?
Actually, no, but I have somebody making me one, so I'm waiting for that one to get done.
Okay, well.
I don't know. That's actually a really good question. Because, I mean, there's so many toys out there now that you just never know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know what toy it would have to be. You'd have to get an obsession one. Rick would have to have his own little toy. That way he could sit down with the boys and teach them how to drive with the obsession truck.
Eric, what do you say? Oh.
We have, I've actually had a thing. So my older scheme, I have a Hot Wheels of, and then we're working with the contract for the newer scheme, but we're still working with it, I guess. But I have a fan that made me one, the up-to-date graphics, and it actually is pretty sweet. You did a really good job on it, so I like that one a lot.
Another fan question came in from Cole Vital. Eric, do you get nervous to hit a backflip?
My first couple, me and my dad were looking at the ramp in my first one in Anaheim, and we were talking about like what to do, and he's never tried one yet, so he's like, I don't know. So I talked to a couple of the guys veterans that have done it, that were at the show, and they kind of walked me through the process of like rolling into the gas and make sure you hit the brakes before you land, so it doesn't rotate back over. But kind of talked to the guys about it, and then kind of just went for it, and it worked, so it was pretty sweet. I remember the first backflip. It was actually the second backflip. My first one was on when they did the dirt ramp, and then my second one was on the container. And they said when you do it, you want to hit the ramp, and as soon as you see the dirt coming, you hit the brakes, and then obviously you let back off the brakes so you don't land on the brakes. But I remember when I hit my first container, I remember hitting it, and then I opened my eyes and I was already landing. So I was like, man, that's way faster than the dirt. But it was a good experience. But yeah, it was a fast experience.
So, BJ, I got a question for you. What are your expectations coming into Glendale and beyond? I mean, do you see yourself maybe driving wild card again?
Yeah, if I need to, I'll go. That's kind of the deal I had with the Swansons, that I'll go drive it for the show in Glendale because it's just a really big event. And like I said earlier, just Beau's got to get more seat time. Once Beau gets seat time and is confident, and everyone's confident of him doing a big show, then I won't drive anymore. And if they need somebody, I'll go drive it. I mean, that's just, I can't do it full time. And I'm not gonna lie to no one. I'm 45 years old and drove for 20 years. My body hurts. I hurt every morning I get up because trucks don't land as good as what they used to, and everything's gotten bigger and more extreme. So if they need me, they know they can call. And even if they need me just to go through and help Beau out for the weekend, I'll go. I don't have any problems with that at all.
All right, Phil, what you got for us?
Hey, so debut weekend for Wild Card. It's this weekend. Highlight Reel Entertainment out in Pocatello, Idaho. Great new promotion, running a lot of events. That's where Wild Card's going to be debuting. So, Beau, what are your expectations for your debut weekend?
Like I said, not trying to take too many expectations in the weekend at all. As long as all four tires stay on the ground, don't do too much damage, and can put on a decent show, I'll be more than happy.
So what does the future look like for Wildcard?
Well, hopefully it sticks around for a while. getting to debut it this weekend is going to be pretty cool, and having BJ hop in the truck for Glendale and beyond that. I know we have a great driver that, like I said, can go out there, know the limits of the truck, know what he can do, and he's going to put on a great show for everybody.
So, Eric, now that you're kind of the pseudo veteran King Swanson of Obsession Racing, I'll make sure you have the last question here. What are the expectations for Obsession Racing for the rest of 2021 and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, with my dad stepping back a little bit from the truck, we want to kind of, I guess, in a way, take over the team and make it with the next generation for us, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for both of us to kind of run the team and kind of just go have fun with it and have a good career with it.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and now that wild card is on the team, the best is yet to come. Hey, Eric, why don't you, Beau, take us to the truck one more time? Show everybody the real deal for anybody that's late to see the first generation of wild card going to be debuting here this weekend.
Oh, you're walking kind of fast.
That's okay. We're only live.
Don't fire me, Phil.
No.
Too late.
So there it is, folks. It's the wild card. It's debuting this weekend, Pocatello, Idaho, with Beau Swanson behind the wheel. And you be sure to catch BJ Johnson driving it in Glendale, Arizona at the end of May. Now, of course, you'll be seeing the wild card on the fancy schmancy old school Ford pickup body here pretty soon. So this is just a nice taste, a nice sampler of how a wild card can look wild, be wild all at the same time while running around all different events. It's going to be great to see this new name for the team. It's always been Obsession, Obsessed, Wrong Way Rick, Obsessed Wear, a couple others, small one-offs, but wild card's here to stay. And with the support of veteran BJ Johnson and Beau Swanson, Swanson and Johnson, they're going to get it all done here.
Sounds like baby lotion.
That might be the next offshoot of Obsessed Wear. Rick, if you're still listening, got Swanson and Johnson. That's coming up next.
Oh, boy.
I'm game. What about you, BJ?
Yeah, sure. You better have some shirts made for Glendale by then. I want that to stand out.
Swanson on the front, Johnson on the back.
There you go, boys.
I don't know about Johnson in the back.
Damn it, Eric.
It goes downhill quick.
All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. We've unveiled the truck here. We're going to see you guys competing in these trucks. And hopefully, I know we'll be seeing you guys sooner rather than later because we're out in Arizona, so we'll be catching the team at the end of the month in Glendale. I know it's going to be very exciting, that event, and Pocatello this weekend. Eric, Beau, BJ, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Can't wait to see Wildcard.
Yes, thank you, absolutely.
Hey, a lot of fun here tonight. That's a crazy bunch of guys right there, and I think the wild card truck exactly sums it up. You never know what you're going to get, whether it's Beau or PJ driving. It's going to be great. Hey, if you guys enjoyed tonight's podcast, once again, make sure you like and share this video. Make sure you share this video so anybody that maybe didn't catch us live could catch up and hear Beau's story and hear what BJ Johnson's been up to, and to see the truck live and in person. You're going to see a lot of the pictures floating around social media, but make sure you share this video so everybody can hear all the details on the wild card truck. I have to give a huge shout out, thank you to BJ Johnson's been up almost all day here, and he's made the podcast round, so I appreciate BJ.
Thank you, BJ.
Jumping on board here, and Beau and Eric as well. Rick Swanson's been such a big supporter, and I have to give a huge shout out to two guys behind the scenes that really put together a lot of the graphics and packet videos. I tell them what to produce, and we all put our heads together and make it done. So I give a huge shout out to my buddy Brian Anger and Danny McGinley. They've been a huge support in producing a lot of great content here. So thank you guys so much. Your hard work is paying off here. It's not going unnoticed. So again, if you guys like tonight's episode, make sure you also like our Facebook page. If you're watching us live on Facebook, you're already here, so make sure you leave us a like. We try to go live every Friday. I know it's Wednesday.
We'll be back Friday.
We'll be back next Friday.
No
Not this
surprises.
upcoming one, next Friday. Working on getting the guests locked in for that episode, so make sure you check us out next Friday live here on Facebook. Also, wherever you can download podcasts, audio only. That's Apple, that's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, Odyssey, Stitcher, Pandora. Anywhere you can download the sound, you can find the podcast. So you can catch this episode again in audio only form, as well as all of our past episodes. We've had Eric on, we've had Rick Swanson on, even some of the people in the comment section here tonight. We've done episodes with them. So make sure you check out our archives there. Also, archives on the Facebook page. Live podcast episodes. Hit that live tab or video tab. You'll see our entire library. That's not scripted. If you caught our episode last week with Paul Jensen live from Lake Havasu City, we thought we were reading off a script. We're not. We're just really
Don't lie, Phil.
passionate.
It's not scripted.
Passionate. What can I say? Vince, it's been a lot of fun here. We've unveiled Jurassic Attack in the past, and now we got the wild card under our belt. Can't wait to see this truck in action.
Can't wait for Swanson and Johnson.
Swanson and Johnson. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Once again, like and share this video, and we will see you here next week.
Next Friday.